Another setup I want to show you is popular at the open. The first 15 minutes, some people use 30, some people use an hour, but 15 minutes is what generally I like to use for the opening range breakout. And I'm going to show you how to do that on NinjaTrader. By the way, I just found a Kennedy silver $half in my drawer. All my old military stuff and challenge coins. I think it's got like 45% silver. Let's see. So it used to have 90% back in the 60s. This is 74. What? It has nothing. It looks like silver, but I guess not. Good to know, guys, if you're looking for those $half. 90% silver looks like 1964 or prior. That's the ones you want. So this is basically 50 cents. Great. Oh, good to know. Make sure you have one cancels the other checked. You'll see this green box. And all right. So sometimes when you go to put in a bracket order, see I got the buy here on this side and the sell on the other side, you're going to get this error. What I figured out you actually need to do with NinjaTrader is to make sure that you put in the initial order, buy side, then you have to select your ATM strategy again and put it on the sell side. You got to select it once, twice, and it will label it 1 and 2 there on your ATM strategy. So that's the trick to entering a bracket order. If you're looking at a range, I like to trade off the 5-minute now in the open for basically everything that I'm trading manually here. 5 minutes seems to be a sweet spot for me. I'll just show you how this plays out here. So we're looking at 940 coming up on 945. And this is how I would set this up. So having this enter at the breakout, we're looking at a breakout of the opening range between 930 and 945. I want to take longs above the highs of that range, shorts below the low. Let me make sure I got the, if you click this box up here, that'll bring up a data box and you can see the low of this 5-minute candle, 805.50. Move that to 805.25, or you can, give it a little more room there. High 940. This slows down a little bit. All right, now we're at 1 times speed. So 940. I want this at 940.25. I'm using a template from Breakout here to move to break even pretty quickly, and giving myself $800 of risk to make 250, basically negative risk rewards. Might adjust this, but right now I'm just keeping it as is. And really, you could find other levels that you could put this on, like this have call resistance from Mentor Q. So I could potentially, once this gets filled, move the stop to make sure that I'm above that. We could use VWAP, make sure you're staying below VWAP. So I do like the fact that in this case, if I'm entering a short, it's going to be below VWAP, and if I'm entering a long, obviously it's above VWAP here. That line's going to stay the same regardless of the time frame. 5, 10, 15. This was the first 5-minute bar showing volume highlighted and part of the Breakout system. It highlights those heavy volume bars, and that's what you would expect to see in the first 5 minutes, of course. And then we have I have the high vol level here, which is very interesting because this is a level that kind of lines up with the 15 minutes. Market makers need to come in if this breaks and start switching directions potentially. Let's see, this is for 0 DTEs on the options, same with call resistance. See if they defend the larger weekly high vol here down at 780s if this breaks here. So I guess the only problem with this short would be this does not line up with the heat map. This is a longer trend. The short entry is valid based on the trend cycle is saying. So I've got quite a few tools here. Just don't want to make it more complicated than it needs to be for those that are starting out. You can essentially just look for that first 15-minute range and look to enter long or short. Look for potential resistance support within a certain range. 1 day expected max of 980 here, so we've got 40 points to take before we hit that 1 day max and prior day close. So it's plenty of room for this trade. I'm looking to take profit at about 5 points up to 45. It's a quick scalp for me on this trade in particular. So I'm going to speed this up and see what it does. Building this range. So I expect this to accelerate once it gets outside with volume. This is from the 30th, Friday's open. That is the nice thing about Ninja. You can test your strategies out and see practice basically before the real thing. I have to start waking up earlier for this open because I'm on Pacific time. That means I'm going to be waking up about 6 o'clock in the morning for the 6:30. Okay,
target filled.
Okay. All right, so that broke the range. And I locked in the 5 points in profit there. You can see it does still continue down here. The longer term high vol level is defended. Speeding this up, you can see it goes back into the range. We can use statistical tools like I think Tradeful or Edgeful rather. We'll show you how often the NASDAQ breaks out of that opening 15-minute range on one side and also the other, and what the average continuation is. So if you're looking for statistics, check out this Edgeful. I'm not affiliated with them at this time. So there's a lot of tools out there. You can make it as complicated or as simple as you want. I'm still trying to trade the open now because the Asian session hasn't been good with that open and I haven't been around to trade that at the 6 p.m. open, but you could do this for the 6 p.m. open, the Globex open as well. And that's another way you could use this opening range trade here, not only for the New York Open, but for the European Open, Asian Open as well. Any time when there's going to be volume coming into any of these markets, you could do this on any stock index that you want, really. Whatever you're used to trading, this is a good strategy that you can implement. And you could do this with options as well on QQQ or SPX. Instead of taking the futures trade, you could take this on a 0 DTE option potentially, or because you're getting in and out so quickly. Within an hour, half an hour to hour, you could definitely use 0 DTEs, especially around this time frame. You've got enough time to enter the trade, and you're only in the trade for a minute, so you're not losing any time. Decay. That's another option if you don't want to actually trade the futures themselves, but this would work. I'm looking at this specifically for the prop firm because you've got so much buying power built in. Two minis, it's not going to be maxing out your buying power in accounts, $50,000 or above. That's what I'm doing and looking to do this week moving forward, is to look at a market open trade initially at that 9:30 time point, either up or down, and then looking at a breakout trade of the opening 50-minute range. So that'll be the two strategies I'm testing out. I'll keep posting my strategies and see how they work this week. Looking forward to more consistency and actually start getting paid and running this thing so that it's simple and easy to do, and that I'm basically done in the first half hour. That's it. Please like and subscribe and comment below if you've used the opening range trade and how that's been going for you on whatever asset you're trading.